Hey guys, Zay here. Just wanted to go over the brand new Mythic that we have out here now. It's the Strife Lord's Palace, just released about a week ago. If you're playing Summoner's War Chronicles and you're around the end game, you should be able to challenge this thing. He's a little bit challenging though, compared to the previous Mythic, which was Abysis. A lot more interesting, way more things that can cause you to die. So I wanted to go over at least what we've kind of learned already in the first week. See if maybe if it helps someone, perhaps, because there is a little bit of strategy that you can use. We're still working on the final phase. Some of our guys haven't quite got it down to the point where it's smooth yet. But I'll tell you exactly what I think we should do there instead to smooth that one out as well. So I just wanted to record this really quick. If it would help you out, that's that'll be good then. So anyway, we'll get started with it. You do need, I think it's 996,000 power total. It might be 994, somewhere around there. Basically, it's about a million. Of course, just like any other raid in the game, if you just have the monsters selected that get you over that power cap, you can obviously change them out inside the fight. So that's what we do here. Obviously, you don't want to bring the water monkey, obviously, or Argon or anything like that in there. So queue up and we'll take a look. So first thing, a pause right here. You'll notice that there are 5 spots, five soul spots basically. One's to our left, one's to our right, and then we've got 2 more further back, and then 1 more directly ahead of us in the center. So what will happen is these spots will have different soul markings on them. When you step on them, they will light up and show you which one is each. And what you have to do, Fenturio later on will run into these walls for you and detach his soul pieces in a certain order. And basically, we just have to make sure that we get the appropriate soul piece on the appropriate spot of these 5. The issue, though, is these altar spots actually change every time you fight him. So you do have to figure out what the order is when you get in here, but the order in which you need to secure them is always the same. And that is claw, eye, mouth, blood, and then heart. And if it helps you to think about that, it's basically the same exact order that you would think of a wolf eating its prey in, right? So first, a wolf comes along, claws the rabbit, for instance, or whatever, kills it, inspects it with its eye next, then devours it through the mouth. The nutrients go through its blood and then eventually reach the heart. That's the way I remember it, at least. You can come up with your own method, but that is always the order in which you need to detonate the bombs. So first step is kind goes to the left over there for us. I go over to the right, and as you can see here, this one that I just stepped on is blood. So already I know that that's going to be the fourth spot that we knock out. So that's the blood symbol, in case you weren't aware. Looks like over there was eye, where kind stood, and then this is the mouth right here. So that one's going to be the claw that Kind just walked on. So he marks that one, letting us know that, yes, this is the actual spot that we start in. What we do in order to kind of make this easier to remember, it's really hard to remember the exact position of each of them on their own. But for whatever reason, relativity seems to help out here a lot. So what I mean by that is the idea is to figure out exactly where the claw is, and then from there you remember the order based on which what it is relative to the claw. So for example, the claw is right where Kind is standing right now, but then up here is where the eye is. So I would remember then that one to the left, as I'm looking toward the altars, is where the eye is. So I'll know that that's the second spot. And then obviously I'm standing on the mouth right now. That one will be one to the right. And then after that, I know it's 2 to the right for blood, because we walked on that one as well. So obviously you don't need to memorize where heart is, because once the other 4 are lit up, obviously the heart is the only one left, right? So you don't have to memorize that one. That one's a freebie. So just memorize the first 4, and then just keep that in mind. So then, of course, we reposition. He does start by doing this little AoE thing, and he'll do this later on in the game too, after I think the second phase is complete. And basically it's just an eruption. It doesn't really do much damage, but it does stun you. So if you can roll during that, you can actually just keep DPSing him through it. And I'll show you that right now, I believe. Yeah, so you roll, and in this Mythic in particular, you do get like a little iframe thing. Iframes, if you're not familiar, these are invincibility frames. So if you're like an action player, you probably already know this, or like Dark Souls or something like that. Basically, though, when you activate the evasion skill in this particular raid, you become immune to damage from abilities for a very brief period of time. So you have to time it very well. But it's one of those feeling things. So you're going to have to get used to using that roll properly in order to, ignore damage in this fight. It's going to be pretty important later on, and I'll show you that in just a second. So he starts always with this claw attack too. Basically, he'll just move around, slide through units, and slash around. You can kind of kite this out if you want to too, if you don't feel too secure about surviving it. But usually what I do, and you'll notice I already switched my Huahi. So I'm already queuing up the healing spell like right in the middle of it because I know it's coming. But that's usually what I do is I try to save at least a little bit of mana so that I can use that healing spell whenever this particular attack comes out, because it is pretty devastating. I'm not running Luis because we don't have a Kina in the party, and I'd prefer to just have the attack up for everyone. So that's why I'm doing it. But Luis is probably better. We'll talk about units perhaps after the actual fight, but just want to showcase that to start. Now, what you'll notice here too is he's decided to attack me. Just now, I'll move it back a little bit here. After that swinging attack went through and he rooted me, right after that, see, he's charging up a claw attack. He actually hit me with that, and you can see I just got bleeding on. So I know that I am currently his focus, right? So what I'm going to do, and this is probably the most important tip that I wanted to share, I think, is I'm going to position away from the other 2 people in my party. So I roll over here just to hurry up and get on this side of him. And you'll see now he is still targeting me with his abilities. This particular attack is one where in front of him he will throw down some shockwaves, basically, and slam the ground, sending out another shockwave after that. I want to aim that away from the other 2 people. And the benefit here is they can just kind of not quietly, they can like just keep ramping up more and more DPS while it's aimed away from them. They don't have to bother kiting, moving, or anything. So I'm going to take on that responsibility by being the target, basically. So I move back on the other side of him, and then move back over in front of him again. This attack is a little bit different, a little bit more devastating. He will do shockwaves on the sides of him as well, and then he'll send out frontal shockwaves as well. So, obviously, same thing, though. With both of these special attacks of his, at least during the phase one, they all go in front of him. So that is kind of the impetus behind having the target move the attacks away from the other 2. I think right now Copy is probably the target, but let's find out. So I'm going to move back over here. No, I'm still the target. So I know I'm the target now. I'm going to kite backwards and then kite forward. Now, obviously right now I'm not doing a whole lot of damage, but that's completely fine. The other 2 in my party are doing crazy damage because they don't have to kite. They don't have to worry about spamming Luis abilities to heal. Nothing like that. So I'm still targeted. Yet again, moving back in front. Back, yep, behind him again, like that. Looks like maybe the target changed here now. Yeah, it's on Copy now. So, but anyway, at 90%, which is where he's at right now, he's going to leap towards the center, pull everyone in, and then he's going to start charging. Now, remember, we already marked this is the exact spot for the claw, right? So we know that because this is you see this like square in the center? There's like lines coming off of it. This is the only altar where a line is pointing directly towards an altar. And that happened to be the claw. So that's something that you can use too to like anchor yourself on if you want to go about it that way. But yeah, the arrow, this one is, this direct line right here cuts right through the altar, and that is where the claw is. This is where the eye is right here, because it's one to the left, and then one to the right down here is where the mouth is. So what you want to do, always, is you want to figure out exactly which altar it is, and then aim Fenturio here to the left. This particular wall is on the corner. You want to aim him to the left of this altar. And you'll do this basically on every single altar. As long as you do it in the exact same spot every time, you don't have to worry about a wall being missing or anything like that. You'll get him to crash into the wall every time. So what he'll do is he'll mark someone. It is me in this case. So I've got the red target on my body right now. He's going to charge towards me, so I want to make sure that I lead him towards this wall that I'm running straight towards right now, so that he crashes into it, and that will cause him to detach his soul piece, which we will feed into the altar. So everyone else positions basically around the altar. I stand here, and then as soon as the red target goes away, I wait like maybe a quarter of a second, and then I'll dodge. See, right there it is. So now these guys are immune. I'm running away, and Fenturio is already coming to crash through him. As you can see now, because of that, I take no damage. I do get, like, the debuffs, but you can't really ignore that. The boss's debuffs, that is. And anyway, it'll say that the soul has been detached. You can use the altar to steal it, or seal it. These souls will actually seek out the closest person, so it's really important that everyone goes to the altar, so that you're all together, and that the soul always will go directly to the altar, not like just wander around, right? So, all right. As soon as you see it like appear in the center of the altar and like kind of like disappear for a moment, that's how you know it's been sealed, and now you can go and fight the boss. And getting this particular type of phase down pat is very important, because right now you'll notice the boss has 10 stacks of damage taken up. So he's going to take a crazy amount of damage. The other thing is, if you look down here in the lower right-hand corner, I have my ultimate now. So he gives you a max ultimate as soon as this happens every time. As soon as you seal one of these souls, you'll get an ultimate. So, obviously, I'm going to walk over here and lead with my ultimate with Odin. We're going to do crazy amounts of damage. In fact, yeah, as you can see, we roll over to it to try to get as much damage in as we can during this time. Really helps with your time in this particular fight. So as you can see, like, look at that. We destroyed him. We dropped him like 5% HP in a matter of a few seconds, right? So, very good. He always dashes back towards the center. You can kite by just being off to the side a little bit. Even if you do get hit, it's not the end of the world. Right now, I'm about to take some pretty heavy damage to the front, I believe. But you'll notice, because I knew I was going to take the damage, I didn't freak out. What I did, though, was these three monsters are definitely going to take it. But I rolled right at the precise moment so that I don't take at least one of the waves. And that is enough to secure my monster's survivability, basically. They might become slowed, though, so you have to be like extra careful to make sure that you're not putting yourself in a dangerous position after this until, you know, your monsters are back to normal, right? Yeah, so they get flung back. Not much I can do about that, but here's the claw. So I switch over to Huahi, prepared to heal. Luckily, someone else came in with Luis heal, so I didn't have to. And in just a moment, it will move down to 80%, which I believe is the next altar then. Yep. So now he's doing his claw, sucking everyone to the center. And this time it's unkind. So same thing. We'll ult again. Yep. And hit him really hard. So it continues, obviously, until you get the first 4 done. So we'll probably skip ahead a little bit here, most likely. Right now, Kind is moving over. Yeah, this will be the... remember, this is the mouth. So we're moving... yep, that's the third one right there. Doing more damage. Fighting. Another attack, actually, I should point out, it's probably somewhere around here, is he will, about halfway through this first phase, like this right now, he will wipe out all of his debuffs, so you can see he's cleansed all of his debuffs on him, and he will charge a flip. Now, as soon as you see him like kneel over like this, you want to start to get to where he's going to be, because he's going to backflip basically, just a little bit. And so you want to keep walking towards him, because right after he does that backflip, he will send out frontal shockwaves as soon as he lands. So you want to get behind him after he does that. So you'll notice I start to move back there already. And I barely get back in there in time. Obviously, Kind didn't copy, went off to the side, which is also okay. But I just wanted to point out that attack too. So you just have to keep in mind that he adds that, I think, right after the second soul gets locked into an altar. So anyway, looks like we are finishing up the 4th altar right there. He rinses and repeats until he gets all of his altars down. Now, after you get the 4th, he's going to add a bunch of ultimate abilities that he can do periodically, too, before he does the 5th. And it looks like he's about to charge one of these right now. No, never mind. Okay, so he's actually breaking the heart right now. But you can get those starting after the 4th soul is detached, so just be wary of that. He will suck you in towards the center and use those ultimate abilities, and you have to react to them in a very precise way, or you'll just get wiped out. So we'll showcase one of those right here, I think. He still has 44%. Right there is one of them. So he doesn't move into the next phase until 40%, and all of his altars are done right now. So we already know for sure that he's about to use one of his 2 special attacks. So what he does for these is he's going to port into the center just like he does when he's about to crash into a wall. This one in particular is called, we call it the Stomp. So he raises up one of his legs and he's going to slam it down. And then after that, he's going to do this like spread AoE. Now the thing is, normally you'll notice we've wanted to be behind him. In this one, you actually want to be in front of him, but not directly in front. You have to be in front of him, but off to the sides, and I'll show you why in a second. Number 1, you always take this 10 stacks of damage taken up, and he wipes out all of your buffs. No big deal. It doesn't do any damage. You can't get away from it in time. You might as well not even bother. But you'll notice I've positioned right here is the front of him. He's like looking this way. A line is going to come directly in front of him. But from here, from that line, and then all the way to his sides, there is no line for damage. And this is the same on the other side of him too. Left or right, doesn't matter. And you'll see the lines here in just a second. So that's what it looks like. Obviously, in this case, you don't want to be behind him, because there's like 3 lines back there. And then you've got the 2 lines on the side, and then you've got the one line up front. So as you can see, if you're right here, you can be very safe. And you'll notice that we actually don't retreat from the boss that much because we know this. We actually stay pretty close to him. You can actually DPS him through this. Just make sure you don't walk through the line, right? And make sure you're using ranged abilities. Don't have any, melee characters. Don't, dive in. But, you can activate a few AoE or, ranged attacks without any problem. So... anyway, I think in this one, we're about to push him right now to the next phase, I believe. He's at 39%. He should be moving. Yeah, so as soon as he hits 40% then, he will raise all of these walls, and these become like a commodity. And you'll see what I mean by that in a little bit. But he stomps, letting you know that he is about to enter a portal, basically. Unfortunately, I didn't catch all of that while I was playing. But anyway, what has to happen here in this particular phase is one person needs to go into the portal, and you should have your best DPS player do that, because it is a DPS race. They also have to know that they need to survive too. I think he like continuously charges at people in that zone, but I'm not 100% sure. I've always done the rock phase instead, so I will show you the rock phase anyway. The rock phase is important because, or the rock side, I should say, is important because I will be feeding the buffs that kind, in this case, I will be using to kill the boss. So, he's going to enter the portal. And I stand far out here, and this copy is kind of doing the same thing. We stand quite a bit of ways away from the center because rocks are going to appear here. And if you get hit by them, you get sent flying into the air and you're CC'd. You can't really do anything about it. And it prevents you from doing what you need to do in this phase. So, as soon as I see a rock, I'm going to hurry up and get into that spot. And the reason is because with this rock phase, it will alternate back and forth. So whichever spot has a rock on it right now will not have a rock on it in a second. And vice versa is true. Any spot that does not have a rock on it now will have a rock here when the next cycle happens, the next rotation occurs. So I'm gonna roll really quickly to get into that spot. You know, expend as many rolls as I need, and then at that point, I saw that the rock was right here. I'm gonna move towards that square. And then from there on, you can kind of just go diagonals every time. You don't really need to know the rock position at that point. You can always just go diagonal. So as you can see here, from here you could go up to the left, up to the right, back to the left, back to the right, all the same. Obviously, I'm going to go back to the, up to the left because right here is one of these orbs. If you're standing on the orb long enough, or standing at least nearby it long enough, you will pick it up and gain a stack of attack speed up and move speed up. And you can see it as there's like that brief channel that you saw there. That was me actually picking up this buff. And now we have unremovable move speed up, and actually I think that might be attack speed up if I'm not mistaken. It might be damage dealt up. I'm not 100% sure. Either way, it's going to help do enough damage to beat the boss in there. You notice that time there, I didn't actually pick up the buff. It actually disappeared, and a new one went in its spot. The thing to note with this phase is that there will always be at least one buff in the center, and then one buff will be 1 to 2 tiles away from the center. So, either way, though, you don't want to get greedy. You'll notice I don't try to charge and stay in the center to try to pick up this new one or anything like that. I just move back diagonally, and then I'll move back and pick it up later. If you try to get greedy here, you're gonna hit a rock, and it's gonna send you flying, and then you won't be able to get anything. So that's the number one thing. Don't panic when you're doing this. Just go back and forth. Look for the best route that you can take to pick up as many buffs as you can. Obviously, in this one, it keeps spawning over where a copy is. I can't get to it, so I'm not even going to bother, because they only last about 4 rotations each. So I'm just going to stay in the center, get the guaranteed one. In this case, I do go off to the side, thinking that maybe copy can get over here in the center. I still get it, almost. I was close. But anyway, you just keep doing this. And it actually gets easier, you'll notice, over time, because you now also have this move speed up that's helping you move in between the spots. So you actually start to accumulate them faster. As you can see, we're up to 8 already. So you just keep doing this, basically, diagonals here, like I said, until this part of the fight is done. And that's the signal that it is done. Now, if they failed, this ultimate gauge for Fenturio will be full, and it's a wipe, so don't even bother. At that point, you've already lost, right? That would mean that whoever went into the portal didn't do enough damage, basically, in time. In this case, though, we succeed. He jumps, and then he's already doing a special attack. So now in this phase, obviously, there's no souls to seal anymore. So every time he jumps towards the center now, he's going to be doing some kind of special attack. In this case, it's yet another stomp, so we get in front of him again. He's going to shoot out the line in the front, and then I just start fighting him, of course. The only other thing that he will add in this stage is a more dangerous attack that's similar. Yeah, this one right here. It's similar to the blue one, where he sends out the shockwaves in front of him. But in this case, actually, he's holding the ball in either his left or his right arm, or his left or his right hand, I mean. If he's holding it on his left hand, you want to be basically like off to his side and slightly behind him, but on the other side. So right now, we're going to move right here where I'm at right now and kind is at right now. This is kind of like the safe zone, you'll see. So every other spot gets hit. If you do get hit by this, I don't think it's that big of a deal. You won't die from it, but it will give you the boss's debuffs, which will reduce your damage and stuff like that. So try to avoid it when you can. It can be difficult sometimes, but it'll improve your times from there. So there he goes, cleansing, backflipping. And he'll do the normal shockwave after that. I wanted to showcase the other ultimate ability that he has, and I think he'll do it in a little bit. So let's try to find it. Okay, so now he's summoning it from the right hand, so hopefully I can get to the left side quicker. Looks like I do. Let's proceed a little bit. Okay, I lied a little bit too. So he, in addition to gaining this extra attack of his, he will also continue to try to charge people. And what's going to happen here is he's going to target someone. In this case, he targeted Copy. You want to take him to a wall that is ideally in a diagonal spot. So this farther diagonal, like angled wall that we're looking at right now, we're going to aim him over there. The idea is we want to keep as many walls next to the souls as possible for the final phase. So Copy's going to bring him over here. We're going to be nearby, but like not in the range of fire. And then we're going to use this opportunity to do damage yet again. When he rams into a wall, he gets 10 stacks of damage taken up, but you're not locking a soul away, so you don't have ultimate anymore. Unless you saved it, of course. Doing damage in this phase is even more important because eventually you're going to run out of walls, and if that happens, then this fight gets very difficult, right? But otherwise, we continue to DPS him down to 0. Let's see. So, Kind is getting targeted by another dash here, so we're going to move in and do as much damage as we can. While the 10 stacks of damage taken up are there. Alright, so yet again someone's being targeted. So now, unfortunately, Copy moved over here. What's going to happen here is if he doesn't run into a wall, he's going to just charge, and then he's going to choose another target to run at. Eventually he does stop doing this, but it's worth noting, and you'll notice I tried it right there too. You can't deal damage to him while he's doing that. So until he stops, you're basically stuck, damage-wise. Normally what I would have done in that case is moved him over to another one of the diagonals that was nearby to try to get him to ram that instead. And the reason, obviously, is because we want the 10 stacks of damage taken up, and we don't really care about those walls that are in the diagonal spots. They're not close at all to the souls that we have here. So now he's porting to the center. This is the attack that I was trying to showcase earlier. He will do this in the first phase as well sometimes. But basically, it's just a huge AoE around him. There is no safe place. The only thing that you can do is run away. So as soon as you're able to move again, pick a single direction and just go straight away from him as quickly as possible. You'll have to use, your rolls as well. And then just try to hug the wall, because as you can see here, the first part is he will slam down and drop this like white area below him, and in the whole range of where the damage will be. And if you get hit by that, you get slowed. You take one of the boss's special effects, but it's not that big of a deal. It doesn't do much damage, but you definitely need to make sure that you're out of that area for this attack right here. If you are in there, you just get wiped out. No save at all. But as soon as that particular attack comes out, you can immediately hurry up and go back to the center, and you'll notice yet again he's got 10 stacks of damage taken up. So this is DPS time. If you have the ultimate, obviously use it, but if not, just try to do as much as you can. So Copy, yep, is going to aim him over here to a diagonal again, so that's good. We should be able to do quite a lot of damage to him. I had my ultimate there, so that's a big help. Yeah, down to 2%. So, as soon as... Okay, it looks like he's going to do... Okay, yet another attack where he will AoE the whole room. As you can see here, I got hit by that one, but all of my creatures were able to get out in time, luckily. The one other thing I should note with that attack, too, whenever he's actually pulling people into the center, the closer you are into the center, that means that you have less CC'd time, basically. And what I mean by that is, like, the closer you are to the center, the earlier you can actually start to move, because you're not being pulled in still, if that makes sense. So that was actually the primary reason why I couldn't make it in time, at least the edge, to avoid all of it, was because I was still getting pulled in while other people were running away from him. I was still, like, coming towards the center, if that makes sense. And I can showcase that maybe a little bit more again. So as you can see, Kind and Copy are closer to the center when they get ported in. And I'm still being pulled, and you can see Kind is already, like, running. You know, they're gone, right? Copy's starting to move too, but I got a late start. So, yeah, very important to do it quickly there. Anyway, once it hits 0%, it gains 3 stacks of this special unremovable shield of his. And that indicates that the final phase is here. What I recommend doing, the objective, by the way, for this phase is to have one of these, or 3 of these, 3 separate bombs here blow up while he is next to them. And what he's going to do is he's going to just keep charging people throughout this phase, but then he's also going to do, like, these jumps as well to land on top of people as well. So you have to be kind of aware of both of those attacks, but he doesn't do anything else in this phase. Same thing applies, though. If you ram him into a wall, he will stay there for about 3 to 5 seconds. Now, the tricky part, though, with this is these altars that we break have a certain amount of HP, and when they break, they don't instantly explode. So I'm being targeted right now, and you'll see I actually got hit there. I didn't properly dodge. I don't think I had dodge, actually. It might have just come up or something. But obviously try to dodge it because you don't want to take that damage. And then see what he's going to do after that. Unfortunately, he did hit the wall over there, but that's not that big of a deal. He is jumping, and it looked like he was jumping towards someone else. That's why I didn't bother. I think I did freak out because I wasn't 100% sure at the time. But he was actually leaping towards someone else. Once he does the leap, he will, like, kind of like Goomba stomp someone, whoever he's leaping towards. So, but the idea here is, it looks like he's aiming towards Kind now. As you can see, I'm trying to do as much damage as I can to this altar. And it's basically just number of hits. So the more hits you do, the better. Over there, it looks like they managed to detonate one of the bombs right when the Fenturio was crashing into that wall. And that's basically what you have to do. So I'll showcase this, I think, when it comes to my turn. But see, I'm not actually sure if that one counted because he leapt away from it before it blew up. So instead, what you want to do is you want to have someone prepared to blow up the orb right when he's next to it. Luckily, now that Fenturio stomped right when stomped on someone who was right next to the orb at the time, so he did still land inside and get hit by that particular orb. So that still works too, but it's a lot more risky, if you will. So anyway, I'm coming back to my 8% one right here, and hopefully the idea is copy should bring it over to this spot. So now this is where I make a mistake. I thought Kind was going to be able to roll to get Fenturio to charge this wall right next to the orb. So I detonated the orb. But as you can see, Fenturio's already charging now, and it's basically straight ahead. So not only does he hit me, but this orb explodes and kills me. So obviously that was a poor judgment in that moment. But you can kind of see what the goal is. Luckily, we do still have 2 more bombs left. So as long as we get these 2 right, we're good. So yet again, I'm going to be dealing damage to this altar to prepare it. And then eventually telling Copy and them to come over here once it's low. So it's down to 4 HP, so 4 more hits, it will break. So I'm going to leave them there like that, and then I'm going to tell them, hey, come on over here. And as soon as I know that he's about to crash into this wall, I'm going to break this last bomb. So Copy's bringing him close, but not into the wall yet. Now Copy is bringing him to the wall. So as you can see, I switch, I attack it, run away, and that one will hit him. And there it is. So pretty straightforward. Like I said, we're still practicing that final round, so we didn't quite get it that good. But hopefully that showcases the objective, at least, in the fight. I hope you learned something from it. I'm going to go over and talk about what type of monsters we want to use here in just a second. All right. We are back into the game right now. Just quickly, I wanted to go over some of the things that we've observed you should not use and some of the things that you should use to help you pick out comps better. Number one, you might think it'd be a really good idea to have someone like Megan out there who will give you attack speed up, move speed up, and whatnot. But I'm pretty sure that move speed up causes, whenever you apply that type of ability, it causes that monster to get stunned instead. So we've tried Megan, and that is a no-go, so you don't want that. But one thing that you should be aware of is that this particular boss will not take crit damage. From monsters, at least. It will take crit damage from summoners, but not monsters. So, obviously, your more DPS-heavy summoners like Orbia, Soletta, and Heath will actually do really well here. Kina's probably okay, too, because you can give attack up. My summoner Cleave, of course, is obviously the worst pick, right? that's how it always goes in life, right? Because you cannot crit, though, with monsters, things like Perna, Argon, your standard DPS characters like Kamiya as well, not going to be a good selection, right? Instead, you will want to go for weak point monsters, so weak point attackers. I like to use Sharon just because I have her partially built, at least. I've used her for quite a long time. She's maxed Awaken, so she's cool. But the issue with Sharon is she does Deaf Down. That's another thing to keep in mind, is that whenever you apply attack or defense down on a monster, on Fenturio, I mean, he will instead flip that to attack up and defense up. Now, that actually benefits a brand new character that we just got in the game called Odin. He just got released, I think, just a week ago, right? And this guy is, in particular, very good for him. I built him just for this raid, summoned him, built him up. Actually, I connected him. So I have him connected right now. So he does really good damage. The reason being is that it's all weak point damage. If you take a look, all of these attacks are weak point attack available, weak point attack available, weak point attack available. And he does extra damage to a boss if that wasn't enough. And he adds even more like defense penetration and whatnot as he builds up his stacks here. This ability is only 2 mana to cast, and it's a great ability to just spam. And this one actually does attack down, right? So obviously that sounds bad because we know then that's going to flip up to attack up. But then right after he does that, he steals it. He steals one beneficial effect from Fenturio. In addition, when he does that stealing of a beneficial effect, you also get mana regen speed up. So So Odin is just absolutely made for this particular fight. I haven't seen a single kit yet that seems to work better for it, honestly. So make sure you pick up Odin while he is out there on a banner right now, so you can do Fenturio yourself. This thing, having this character added, I think it like doubled my damage output on this fight instantly. So, very good unit to have for it. Highly recommended. From there, what you'll probably want to have is mostly, and perhaps everyone should be using Luis. The only reason I use Wahi is because we don't have a Kina or anything, and I think the attack up is good, and I trust that my team's Luises will be able to get me out of a bind if I need to. But especially if you're still learning the fight, it probably would be a lot safer to use Luis instead. She will not only cleanse, um, she removes two harmful effects on the team, and she also implies invincibility, so you don't have to worry about the enemy's damage. Plus, she'll give you shield too, so you can absorb more damage too. Uh, all great stuff. Honestly, Fenturio doesn't do a whole lot of super dangerous attacks. It's just a few of them, and shield just completely like counters his abilities. Plus, in the final phase, if you get hit by one of the orbs for some reason, you will get you will have unrecoverable on both you and all of your monsters. So you won't be able to heal at all anymore. Huahi becomes useless, obviously, at that point. But something like a Louise would allow you to continue to heal. Or heal more like blocking damage with a shield, right? Of course, another a unit that I've been thinking about trying in this raid is Chasun, and the reason for that is because she does the equalization of HP. So she technically can actually heal through even unrecoverable. So something to keep in mind there with that one. Another unit that folks like is from the most recent collab. It's the Light Mari. So she hits very quickly. She attacks the enemy target 3 times with just her basic attack. And all of this is weak point as well. Since you can't crit, you really want to lean into weak point characters because they will do in total way more damage than just your regular unit that does crits. So that's why. But in addition to her just doing a decent damage all around, she also strips quite regularly. So even her 3 mana cost pallet rifle will strip on average about 2 times per cast because it's a 20% rate and it does it 10 times. But then also you've got 2 beneficial effects get removed, period, with this 5 cost ability. Root doesn't matter, but in addition to doing that, she also procs her S1 right here, pallet rifle again, too. Of course, if she also gets CC'd, she nullifies that. So she's just kind of all good, all around good. And of course, if she does remove some beneficial effect, she gets attack up too. And then reduces monster skill cooldown. So she's quite good. She helps ramp up your DPS quite a lot. Definitely recommended her. Another few options might be something to think about would be, let's see if I can find her in the list. It would be Cassandra. So she, on her Q1, she actually removes beneficial effects. She does block beneficial, doesn't really help that much, but she does also apply attack speed up, which just means more hits, more weak point attacks, more damage, right? So she is a solid pick too. And I think, obviously, if worst case, in the worst case scenario, you could even use like an Ardella too, right? She does apply Death Down, which is unfortunate, but she also does a block beneficial effect. So she should eventually stop that instead. You could also Soul Link her and make sure that the lightning arrow comes out first before she's allowed to do her accurate shot instead. Other than that, she's just a standard unit for this, so nothing special. But basically, any weak point attacker that tries to limit at least Death Down or Attack Down would probably work out very well. You can also even go the bomb route, which some of us do as well. So you could use something like a Kobold Bomber, maybe, which does not only bomb damage, which doesn't need to crit, it just does very good damage when it explodes, but also he applies damage taken up on the boss too. Remember though, Fenturio does cleanse his debuffs from time to time, so the value here can kind of ebb and flow a little bit depending on what you do, but you can use Kobold Bomber. I tried him out. It was all right. Worst case scenario, too, if you don't have a bomber or any of these units, you could also help your team a little bit by using Brandia still. Your monster won't be critting, but at least you will be applying that damage taken up, and you have death penetration damage. So Brandia still does at least some damage, but it's definitely going to be outshined by weak point attackers. So try to build one of those if you can. Any of those would work. All of the archers seem to do pretty well. Odin, like I said, it's right now you can get it for 200 mystical scrolls. Just summon until you get him pitied, or maybe you get him earlier. Either way, he is extraordinary for the raid, and that covers one of your DPS slots just fine there. So I hope that was helpful. Like I said, this is just what we learned over a week. I know there are quite a few people that have already finished it, but I think there's room for potentially some folks to get carried through here that maybe are not strong enough. I think as long as you can hit the bonus, at least right now, you should be able to get it done. Right. The biggest thing is to just practice fighting him, learning his attack patterns and whatnot. He doesn't do a whole lot, honestly, once you get used to it. So, anyway, I hope you learned something from it, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.